Hello and warm welcome to this tutorial. We are going to connect the Oberheim TEO-5 together with SoundTower editor software. This will be a big tutorial, but I promise you it's definitely worth to take a look at it. The reason is that I've been concentrating all the knowledge that I've been getting to getting SoundTower to use it as good as possible, and I can promise you that it was really a big one to take in because it's a very complex editor after all. So you find the editor at visiting soundtower.com, and they do not only provide the editor for Oberheim, as you can see the TEO-5, you have so many other synthesizers as well. So if you click on Oberheim TEO-5, you can read some information regarding it, and the one that we are going to make a tutorial about here is this one, the standalone sound editor. You can get a demo version, and I highly recommend you getting a demo version before you actually buy it, so you can try it fully and see if you're satisfied. And there also exists something called Plug SC, and not to cause any confusion, this is not a VST that creates sound, definitely not. This is like to have control over the TEO-5 inside of your DAW. I've been trying these and I find actually some use for them, so I think I can recommend them also. But the most important part for me at least is the standalone sound editor. So after you've been getting it and installing it, you will see something like this. This is the first view of it, and in order to make this work you need to set up a connection properly for your TEO-5, and I'm going to show you how to do that. To start with, we need to get the MIDI connection established properly. If you click on MIDI over here, it opens up this MIDI window. And in this window, you will see if, for example, if I select wrong MIDI port here, this is what you will see if you don't have a correct established connection. If you have a correct established connection, it will say sequential and TEO-5 keyboard OS version and reflect it over here. Here you find description of one part that are parameters that need to be set correctly, and here you have another which are parts of parameters that need to be set correctly. So first of all, make sure to know like which type of connection you have. In my case it's USB, so I select the in and out port as mentioned here. If you have a normal MIDI interface connection, then select the MIDI interface in and out and correct port. And here is how you set up on the TEO-5 in the global menu to get these settings correct. Here it is. In order to establish a connection between the synthesizer and SoundTower editor, we need to make sure that we have the correct global settings on the synthesizer. On the TEO-5, you have the global button, which you press to toggle the global menu. And from here, we are scrolling with the select wheel, the first one, so we arrive at the number 14, which is MIDI channel. Make sure that you have the same one as SoundTower editor. For example, if I have MIDI channel all, SoundTower editor, it doesn't matter which one it uses. This synthesizer will now listen to all of them, but make sure that that's correct. And now we are taking the settings for control the TEO-5 in real time, and then we need to change parameter 20. MIDI control should be on. Next parameter is number 19. MIDI param receive should be NRPN, and you select value, I forgot to say that, with the right knob. So here you can select the value, but it should stand on NRPN. And next one is the send of MIDI param, which is page 18. This should also be on NRPN. And then we have something which I believe is more a matter of taste, which you find on page number 5. It's the pot mode. I have it on jump, which seems also to be recommended in SoundTower editor. So that was the settings for to control the TEO-5 in real time. Then we have for data communication also, And then we need to scroll to number 21. MIDI Sys should be enabled. If it's not, just turn the value knob till you find on. Next up is MIDI Sys cable. This one, it depends on how you connected your TEO-5. If it's connected via USB, then select USB. If it's connected via a simple MIDI cable, then just select MIDI. But in my case, my synthesizer is connected with a USB cable. And next one is number 23, which is MIDI out. And this one should be USB as well, if you're using USB in that case. Else, select MIDI. And that should be everything that should be needed if you to set up the connection. In case you are running into trouble, I think one thing that is very common is that if you were having the demo version and you activated the product, you need to restart the product to make it run as a normal product instead of a demo version. That can make some confusion. It made for me at least. And now we just press global and we are back. I guess that you've been having your synthesizer correctly set up. And as I mentioned before, it can be a little bit confusing if you have the demo version and register it and forget to restart it after registering it, because then it will still run in demo mode and not fully operational. So make sure to restart it after registering. So once it's set up, you just press OK. And if everything's OK now, it means that if you turn a knob on the synthesizer, the knob should reflect on the editor as well. Now I'm turning as you can see here, the cutoff knob, and vice versa. You will change parameters when you change them on the editor. An advice I would say before we start looking at patches and things like that, I will give you a hint. An advice, I mean, if you go to TEO-5 editor and go to settings, here you find something that I personally like. It's the knob value adjustments. I selected it to be linear, so it's a vertical motion. So when I grab the knob, it means that I just move it mouse up and down instead of moving in circular motion. This is personally my favorite. Now it's time to dig a bit deeper inside of the editor. And before we really start, the first important thing I think is to show you how it looks like in the patches bank system here. If you move the mouse over to banks and press on this, first off, this is a toggle menu, so if you press it one more time, you go back to the editor interface, so you can toggle between them. To start with, you have each bank, as you can see, horizontally, like user 1, user 2, user 3, user 4, etc., etc. And you have a scroll here, so you can continue to scroll over the factory patches all the way. And on the vertical side here, you have the programs from the first one to the last one for each bank. So that's how they are organized. And the view over here, you have a button. You can change the view. Now it's expanded, you see everything. If you want to make it more slim, you can change these to names only to have a more compact view. Or if you want to have only names and category, or if you prefer to have it expanded. I think we stick to this as in this tutorial. An important part is that what you see here, everything here, is definitely not correct right now, for the reason that we haven't received all the patches from our synthesizer into the editor. This is the absolute first must do when you have installed the editor. And this is simple procedure. You head over to the MIDI menu right over here, and we should look for something called Receive Bank. And under Receive Bank, the most simple is to select all TEO-5 banks. This will grab all the user banks and all the factory program banks. But it's worth to point out also that in case you only want to grab the user banks, you take this one. If you want to take the factory programs also, you take that one. That one is for both. If you just want to receive a single bank from the synthesizer to land inside of your editor to the corresponding bank, just select one of these. But first it's important that we do a complete receive, which is this one, all TEO-5 banks. And go ahead and press it. And you can see the progress bar right now that we are receiving the user bank, and they are incrementing, stepping up, like 6, 7, 8, and you see all the patches inside the banks are received. This can take some while because now we are receiving both user banks and both factory banks. And we have received all the user and factory banks. Now this should look more correct according to what you have in your synthesizer. The most important thing that we should do before we start editing and trying some different things would be to make a complete backup of everything. And to make a backup, please remember that the receive procedure that we did is absolutely important to get a complete backup that represents your synthesizer, else you're getting the default patches that are inside of the editor, and that wouldn't be correct. And after you have made a complete receive, you head over to File, and then you select Save All TEO-5 Data. So it's important to know that this actually don't grab the data directly from the synthesizer. This grabs the data that has been received from the synthesizer that is inside of the editor, and that's a big difference. And I'm going to store it somewhere. I'm going to store it here. And I think that we should take something and give it a name that makes sense. TEO-5 backup. We could also add a date and things like that, but we keep it simple right now. And I'm going to, in the background here, create a folder. I forgot that. TEO-5 tutorial, I'm going to call it. Okay. And here was the file that we were getting. This is a TEO-5 backup. So this contains all the data. Now you want to know how to restore the data. And this is a very easy process, but it takes some time because it's going to send all the data to the synthesizer. And to do that, head over to File, and then load all TEO-5 data. Now it wants us to select the correct file that we want, and in case it's this one that I was making a backup of. When you open this, you get this bank loader menu up. I think I will try to put it aside of the editor so it's kind of more visible. Let's see if I can do that. It looks a bit better. It looks so untidy on the screen, but let me do like that for a while. This looks much easier to look at. So why would you like to restore data? It depends on, because sometimes it's important, like it can be different scenarios. Like imagine if you have purchased a TEO-5 desktop and you have the keyboard version. Perhaps you want to transfer all the patches over to that one, or you want to transfer only different programs or just the bank. In this case, you can transfer all the data. Or, for example, that you've been messing around with the synthesizer and you want to restore it from a different point, or that you have like a lot of patches and want to change between them. That could be one possible scenario. And how you do that now, if you press Send to Original Location, this button, what happens is that it will take all the data that was in your backup file and restore it to the corresponding place on your synthesizer. And this will take some while, and please remember that this will overwrite all your data on the synthesizer with the backup data that you have on the file. So be careful. I'm going to demonstrate now to show you how it looks like. And here you can see it's processing, and while this is happening, my synthesizer that I have on the table is walking through every program, and it sets the value and saves them. Alright, so now my synthesizer has been fully restored from the backup file that I've been creating. And I think we remain in this window because we're not finished here yet. What we covered was a complete restore from a backup file. What you also can do here is to have a look what's inside of the bank files. And on the left hand side over here, you have all the banks that are the data, and that's the data from the backup file, which means this little file that we were getting from saving the data. And we can have a look in it. If we press, for example, bank user 1, here you can see all the patches. In my case, I haven't named my patches yet in that bank. Same goes with patch bank 2, 3. Here we have some names. And for example, you might want to send this user bank 3 only to user bank 3 on the synthesizer. How do you do that? It's very simple. If you look here on the right hand side, here is where you select the bank where you want to load that bank you've been standing on. So for now I'm standing on bank U3 in the backup file, and in case I want to send it to bank U3, the user bank number 3, then I just click here and a send button is appearing. If I click on this, it's sending the user bank 3 only to user bank 3. In case I would like to send the same bank to send the same one but to a different location, for example user 6, I just press user 6 and press send. And now it's sending the user bank 3 to user 6. So think of it like this. Here is the user banks from the backup file you've been loading. And here is the user bank on the synthesizer where we want to send it to. And this one is to send everything to its original locations. And here you can see the patches that are in the user bank or the factory bank you're standing on right now. Okay, now I think we are finished. We've been making a backup and I showed you how to make a restore of your synthesizer. I'm pretty sure that you should feel more confident now to change some values if you want. Alright, now we are ready to move on. I think I would like to start with, when we are in the banks here, I think I would like to start with saving one program only to the disk. And when you right click on a program, you have some options here. You have that you can save the program, but I guess that save basic program, should we take something that has a name? We take this one instead, transpass. Right click and take save transpass. Now we are able to save just this single patch right on a hard disk drive. And in here we are going to create a new folder called programs. And it has automatically given the right name, transpass. And right now if I check Finder and go into the programs directory, I find this patch over here which is named _prog. And for example, like if I want to add it to over here, if I right click and take load program, I can then select the file and open it. But something of interest is that the problem is that there seemed to be a bug in the user interface because nothing happened. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't happen. And this is something important I want to point out, that these commands over here can be a bit buggy because of the user interface. And in case of that, we have the commands right over here also. So we can take load program, load single program it's called, or you can use option O, or you can take control O. So that is exactly the same thing as right clicking on a patch and take load program. So we try that instead. What I can tell now is that in my synthesizer right now, which unfortunately I cannot show. I don't have a camera here, but this has loaded the patch inside of my synthesizer, but it's not here in the editor because it's not saved. So this is just in the temporary buffer of the synthesizer right now, so loading a program like that won't actually write it to the synthesizer. So as long as you change a program, that will be changed. But in order to write it to the synthesizer, we need to do like this. File, load single program, or press Command O. Select the file, take an open, and now I press either write on the synthesizer twice, or I can do like this, write program in edit. And what happens here now is that we have the menu for writing program over here. By default, it's the current patch, current memory location I'm standing on the synthesizer, which is user bank 4 and number 1. And you see it has the correct name. If I'm fine with that, I just press OK. Else I change the bank. You can scroll to another one, and you can select another place in memory and press OK. And here you see it's now updated. So that's how you do it. So unfortunately, for the moment, thanks to this user interface bug, we cannot continue with using all of these options here. The only one that is working seamlessly is this initialize. But we can reach these commands in the normal menu, so don't worry over that right now. And I'm sure that SoundTower will fix this bug later on with some version updates. So that will be updated for sure, I guess. However, if you take initialize, it's like initializing a patch, but that won't put it into the buffer. This is here you need to be careful, because this actually writes the program right into the synthesizer, and I can prove it to you if I click this. And right now, you hear we have an initialized program, and if I swap between them, it's still there. So this was not temporary, that's permanent writing. So that's how you load and save the single programs. We also have that we can save an entire program bank. Let's say, for example, that we want to save our user bank 3. Now I can create a folder called banks. And automatically it was given the name TEO-5 bank U3. I save this one. And now if I have a look here in Finder, we should have banks over here. And now we save the bank. I can send this bank over to another bank. This was the user bank 3. Let's say that I want to send it to user bank 6, for example. Then I go to File, load program bank 2, and then I take number 6. Now it asks us to select the bank file, and in case it's this one, bank number 3 file. And now we are getting this menu that looks familiar now. It was the same when we were restoring the backup. But instead of having all the data, the banks there, we only have one that is automatically pointed to the right one. And here you have the options to be able to change it also to another bank if you want. But now you just press send, and it sends it over. So that's how you load an entire bank that you've been saving into another bank in the synthesizer, for example. Press done. And now we can head over to some basic operation here. I'm going to, even if there is a bug in the user interface, I'm going to show you like what's the workaround for right now. For example, let's say that I would like to rename this basic program. Here we have the bug that when I click this and try to write ABC 1, 2, 3, you see nothing happens. But the interface will update if I click on it. And now I need to click twice on OK, because that's also a bug in the user interface. But it has been writing the name, and this is also updated in the synthesizer directly, so we don't need to save it or send it to the synthesizer. And what we can do else, if we don't want to have that problem, instead of right clicking and taking rename ABC, we can take edit, and then we should find rename program over here. And now this should work perfectly in this time. My first patch. You see? So it's just a bug in the user interface, and a very annoying one, but I'm sure that they will fix it. So we've been covering rename and saving and loading, initialize. Now it's time to copy and paste. This might work in the user interface. Let's try it. If this doesn't work, you find the option over here, edit, copy program, and paste program. And that's simple, Command C, Command V. It's like Control C, Control V in Windows, I guess. Let's try if it works here. I take copy, and let's see if it works here. What happened was that it made a drag and drop. So that's another bug in the user interface. So let's say like this, we don't use the right click menu here right now because it's way too buggy. Instead we go here and take edit, copy program, and we go over here and we paste the program. And now it's asked if we want to write and replace the program, and we are fine with that. Press OK. So this has been writing that program into that program space in the synthesizer right now. That can be good, like if you want to make a copy of a program, you want to change some parameters and tweak it and then save it as another one. And then we have the drag and drop, which you saw accidentally was happening. I can show you how it works normally. If I want to change place with this patch and the first one over here, simply drag it and drop it like that, and they are swapping places. In case that you want to move a patch to another bank, it's super simple. You just do like this, and they are swapped place now. So that's the good thing with this editor, that you can easily rearrange the patches so nicely, and it works so nice. But as always, before you make any operations, always make sure to make a backup of your entire synthesizer, because I mean, bugs can happen and things like that. It's unavoidable. It can happen to every software. So it's better to be safe than sorry. And another cool feature I want to show you also is that you can get a list of the name of all the patches in the banks. If you head over to, let's see where we are right now, to File, you have something called Program Bank Names. If you click that one, what this little fellow does is something very good. It's that you can select the bank, and it will write out the bank name, and it will take a sequence of all the bank names there. And you might ask what that might be good for. If you're a sound designer, then you can extract the names of the patches so fast. And also you can get categories also, but I'll show that later where we have categories. User bank 2, user bank 3, you can take all user bank and you get an entire list of them all like this. And look now when I select include category. Guess I need to trigger an update by pressing all user bank again. Now you see that it looks way more tidy, and you have the bank names as well. I mean, this is absolutely nice. And you can take copy to clipboard. What this does is that it's like pressing Control C, and you get all the, or Command C, you get all this text copied, and you can just paste it into your text editor or a website or a blog or anything. Quite nice, right? And that goes also with factory patches as well, as you can see there. We are now ready to have a look at the librarian. Librarian is found over here. This opens up a new window. And this, to explain this, the easiest way would be like this. This is a way to make collections of your sounds. And I've been already here making a collection, so I want to start from scratch. So I take new here, and I don't want to save it. This is what it looks like when it's at the start and it's not added to anything. And here you can select the bank in the editor. So for example, if I want to select something from user bank 3, I could select all the patches. And what I did was that when I'm standing on the first patch, I just scroll down where I want the last one to end. I hold shift and make a left click. And right now I just press this arrow to transfer them over to the category area, or what to call it, in the librarian. I press here, and now it's asked me if I would like to sort the programs into corresponding library category. And that's what I want to do. So the tags you could see here, for example, bass, pad, bass, etc., pad, pluck. The tags will sort them up here. If they don't have anyone, or if I would select that I didn't want to sort them, everything would land under not assigned. For example, here we can see that one was not assigned, and it's this one. If I want to preview the sound, I can take send. And do not worry, when you press send, this just sends it to the buffer to the synthesizer, it doesn't write. So I clicked it, and now I should be able to listen to it while playing my synthesizer. And if I go to pad, I can see all the pads that had a category. For example, if I take send on this one, I can preview it. And you might ask, like, what's the point of this? You know, it's I was having a hard time to understand, like, what was the good thing with this. But it actually has some good things, believe it or not. The good thing is that, for example, if I'm sorting a lot of patches, this was just from one bank. Let's take factory banks as example, because I'm not so good at putting tags. So we need to take some patches from the factory bank to add like this. And I want to have them in category. If I take no here, everything assigns here to not assigned. Okay. Yeah, so now we have a decent amount of patches. So let's use our imagination and say that I sorted out a lot of bass sounds, you know. And I'm interested in the bass sounds, for example, or the lead sounds. What's good here is that if I put everything here, then I can easily have a look at them. I can send them to the synthesizer to preview. Some initial patches I made, so these are fake. Yeah. What we can do now is that, imagine if I want to put them in user bank number 9. I press this one. If I want to put just one of them, I select where in the bank I want to start. So if I want it to begin here, I stand here, and then I select which one, like that one. And if I want to send it over there, I just press this arrow. This will write on the synthesizer, so you're aware of that. And it says here also a warning that we are write and replacing program. I press OK, and you see that one was transferred over there. And let's say that I want to transfer some of them. I can hold command. I guess it's a control on PC, not sure. I selected 4 patches there, these ones. If I want these 4 to begin here or begin there, for example, to have them written in order, I just press this arrow now, and it will warn me from like user bank 9 program 6 to user 9 bank program 9, and I'm fine with that. And so here you have the patches. As you can see, these ones were written here. So this is one way to organize your patches. And what you also can do, instead of just grabbing them from the synthesizer, you can do something very cool. You can import, and you can import, for example, the bank. So I can import this entire TEO-5 bank, and which is the bank number 3. If I take open, it asks us the same question like if you want to sort them. What I understand is that if you have like a double now import, it won't import the doublets or the double ones, if I'm not understanding it completely wrong. And you think you can also import, yeah, you can import program file also. I guess that this one is also already loaded, so if I press OK, didn't happen anything there. Or perhaps it was added over there. Let's try again. Perhaps I was wrong there. Okay, it actually imports a double, so forget what I said. But it just adds on there. So you're not only limited to this one, you can also import patches there. And it doesn't stop here. This is a great tool to make a massive change of category tags on the sounds. For example, if I want to change the tags on all these, I select them all, and let's say that I happen to think that I want to have them under, for example, what should we take? We can take over here organ. I just take the bunch and drop it on organ. What happens now is that you see the tags has been changed to organ on all these ones. What you can do here also is that you can, if you're happy with your library, you can save your library also. You press save and you take new folder and name it library. And should we call it first library? And if I'm not completely wrong, I think that you can import libraries as well. We take a new one and we don't save, so we start from scratch. And we take edit. No, sorry, not edit. We take import. And then we take first library and open it. And you see it's imported it into this one. But to be honest, what I did is like the same as opening a library. So this was not too smart from me, to be honest. But if I had another library imported also, that would of course merge it together with this one. Ah, Jesus. I felt really stupid there. But yeah, that's the fun thing with doing tutorials sometimes. I guess that I'm satisfied over the library function. And this was confusing me a bit in the beginning, like what it was really good for, but finally I find a good use for it. We are going to look at something called phantom banks now. Phantom banks is what I think one of the most useful thing ever. Because the concept is that we should be able to have patched banks on our hard disk drive and load them quickly into the synthesizer. Being able to manage sounds, like imagine it's like an empty bank on the computer that you can put patches into, and you can easily organize it, and then you can load it when you're satisfied over to the synthesizer bank, and it's really a nice way to manage everything. And the library function, librarian, this one, also works together with the phantom banks. So this one is something that we should take a visit when we are using this phantom bank. Okay, so we start off by pressing phantom here. I think this I will try to explain this as good as I can now. We put them beside each other, see if I can put some nice space here. Guess this should be okay. Okay, so let me explain what we are seeing right now. The phantom banks, I see this as a bank that is not inside of our synthesizer. It's not inside of the editor because this is like open beside. And what the bank really is here, it's this one. initialize programs, these ones. So this little fellow has all these 16 patches here, and you can send them to the buffer of the synthesizer to listen to them. Right now they are like basic initialized program. We can try it. If I send this one, that's how it sounded like. And let's say, for example, that we want to start with renaming our Phantom Bank here. You simply double click and we can give it a nice name. Space Bank. Let's call it Space Bank. We perhaps have space sounds in there, what that should be. I found something, Space Pollen. Let's take this one. If we want to transfer this into the bank, let's say we want it to start on the first slot, then we click on the first slot. And if you want it to start here, you click on there to stand there, and then simply just drag and drop just in this window and it will appear there. So it doesn't come in a sequence like where you drop it. So this is good for demonstrate purpose. Like if I want to have this patch there, I take Space Pollen, just grab it and drop it. That's quite interesting. Okay, I think I don't know why I'm running into so many bugs right now, but I think it was a bug before there. But it's I think I had to click to have this in focus, this window. Then it says replace this number 6 basic program. Yes, and you see it right there, and we have the category there. And I can send this one to the synthesizer to listen to it. And now I can also move it around to change position here in the Phantom Bank. Just drag and drop. And what we are doing now basically is that we are creating a collection to a bank with like favorite collection. Let's say I would like to have my fat pad. Just drag and drop. Important to know, you see I have basic program marked. The number 2 I mean. And yes, so you don't stand there, because if you stand there you will write over that one. And you continue like this till you're satisfied with your bank. Let's take bus flow. Yes. You can also do like this instead of drag and dropping. If you, let's say, are on this patch, so when you stand on this one, you can right click and take add current program. And you see, it was adding the current program I'm standing on there. And now it's time to bring in the librarian here. We open it up here. Now we are going to do some advanced stuff here, but it's not that hard. Let's say I want to have the string patches over here, this tree. If I select all the tree, I should be able to, I guess, drag these ones. Oh wait, I need to stand on the right place first. So this can be a little bit tricky. Now I stand in correct place, basic program, and I drag and drop. I guess it wants to, copy all these now. If I take yes, and it worked as we expected. And now we can rearrange them also. Alright, so we have a bank here, and I think, let's say that we are satisfied with this bank. What I expect that you would want to do would be to write your space bank into the synthesizer now. If you want to do that, it's very simple. If you stand in the window of Phantom Bank, it will open up this menu here when you can select MIDI, and you can dump it to a user, and here you dump the Phantom Bank over to a desired bank. So let's say that we want to dump it over to user bank 8 here. If I press this one and I select start, what happens now is that it's writing this Phantom Bank right into the user 8 here. And it looks like it did a correct job there. So what this basically gives us is the possibility to have banks that are not inside of the synthesizer. We can rearrange patches, we can make the absolute perfect mix of patches we like, and then we can save them to the hard disk drive, or we can send them to the synthesizer. I think when we are satisfied with Phantom Bank, we can head over to File and save bank collection as file. I want you to know that what this actually is, this Phantom Bank, it's that it's a collection. So we save this collection, and you will understand in a few moments why it's called collection. I'm going to save it as, and we call this one Phantom Banks, or collection would perhaps be better, but Phantom Banks makes a lot of sense. Space collection, and I take save. And right now in Finder we have this file over here, and it's named _banks, and you will get the idea why it's called banks. Because if we stand in a Phantom Bank, we should be able to take edit, and we should be able to take add initialized bank. And you see here we have two banks now. We have the previous one, the space bank, and we have an initialized programs bank. So now basically we have two Phantom Banks inside of this collection. And this one can also be renamed, of course. Let's call it Space Techno. And you can add patches here also by dragging, dropping, or just right click and select add current program. And so you can see it stands here also paste my first patch. So basically you can make control copy operations, I guess. So let's take this one and take file, or edit should be, copy program. And I guess that we should just right click and take paste. Yeah, that works also. Another cool thing that is very useful is that if you're a sound designer and you have made a collection of your sound that you want to sell, and you want to pack them as a sysx file, what you can do to make it your life much easier is that you make a Phantom Bank and you make your changes. And then you can go to something called export bank as sysx file, and then you select where it should land, this sysx, when it's imported on the synthesizer that's importing it. So you select the destination here, which be the destination for the importer. But I'm going to show you a very important thing here. I'm not sure if this is a Mac OS specific thing here. Let's say that this will replace user bank 1. But what's important now when you make this sysx file is that the format is default TEO-5 program bank, and this is not correct. You should change this one to raw sysx data, else it won't create a sysx file. Now you can save it. And if we look in Finder now, it was generating space bank, and it mentioned also U1, which where it will arrive when you import it, and it's a sysx file. So now you can just publish it and people can enjoy your patches from that Phantom Bank. If you take load banks from, you can load banks from file. If you take load bank from file, let's see if we have a bank file here. We can take this one. What will happen now is that this will get imported in a Phantom Bank, you can see here. So the Phantom Banks really gives so much flexibility. Also, from the same menu load bank from, you're not limited to just have files. You can take an existing user bank also, like if you want user bank 9. Now it's a Phantom Bank here also, if you for some reason want it to be a Phantom Bank. And what is really nice is that the Phantom Bank system we have here is that if you're making music, perhaps that you have so many patches but you just want to have them here, you can simply just make music and do things with the synthesizer and just press send, and it's quickly loading it from the computer memory into the synthesizer without writing it to your synthesizer. So it means that you don't need to have this installed on your synthesizer as long as you have the editor open. The editor you can just walk the patches here and just send them directly to the computer by pressing to the synthesizer by pressing send. So if you want to remove a bank and clean up here, you can mark the bank, take edit, and then you should be able to take remove bank. So we can clean this up a bit. And I guess that this was everything I wanted to cover to get your head around the editor. And as you can see, I'm going to be very humble when I say this, because as you can see, there were some bugs when we had the right clicking here. I really think that this will be updated and fixed in the future from SoundTower. But I really don't want to say that you shouldn't be afraid of using this program, even if this is a little problem. I mean, this software gives so incredibly much, and it gives not only so much when it comes to managing your patches and the Phantom Bank system. What I like about it also, what can be worth to know, is that when you're editing something, for example, if the program volume, you won't find it on the synthesizer, but if you can easily grab it here in the editor without going down in menus. What I like more also is that you have, for example, the panning here, very quick, you can reach it. Another thing that I absolutely love is that here you have some, for example, let's see, on the synthesizer, this one doesn't exist as physical controls. These are like menu diving on the synth. This one you can reach super quick, the resets one. Modulation here, this is also amazingly good to have it in an editor. Of course the synthesizer is very easy to operate, but I mean, how easy isn't this? Like, let's say you want to take the mode slot 9 and you want to take voice spread, should affect, for example, what should we take? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just taking something, noise, and then I can select the mount here, and so on and so forth. I mean, and then you get a very good visual representation of what modulation sources do you have. You can reverse engineer sounds also, like sounds you have on the synthesizer but you don't know how they are, or you forgot how you were making your own sounds. Believe it or not, that happens to me very often. Like I forgot, like, wait a bit, how did I set everything up? Then I can go back here in the SoundTower editor and just having a look at the parameters, how they were set. And you can also swap the noise type very quick here. Here you can change to bandpass filter very quick, else this is a menu thingy. And so there are many reasons why you want to have the SoundTower editor. I absolutely find it useful. It's super good. And so I don't want you to, how to say, oops, I shouldn't go in there. I was about to go there. So just because of the bugs that were here, like for example, when you want to rename that, it doesn't update correctly. As you can see, you're pressing keys, nothing happens until you click in the field. I mean, I'm sure they will be fixed in the future, and it's not the whole end of the world right now. You can just take edit and you can take rename program, and I'm very sure that you will start to use shortcuts command anyway. So you will have this workaround like this instead, for example. So it works anyway, but it's just that it would be so nice if you're a graphical user interface lover. This can be a little bit let down, but don't worry too much over it. This covers everything, and I hope you find it useful. You can download the demo version at SoundTower and try it out yourself. My advice is that download a demo version, try it out, make sure that you can get the connection working correctly. If I'm not wrong, I think that the communication only works in one direction when it's a demo version, and I cannot really remember which direction it was, so it doesn't make a confusion so you think you're making a wrong setup. And So that's normal, that's something limited that they have there. I hope this tutorial was useful, and let me know in the comments below if there's something that I was missing or something that you have questions regarding. Thank you for watching and have a good time.